Hi, I'm Michael Alexander, Distinguished Toastmaster, and I welcome all of you here to the District 100 President Club Officer Training. Please remember that if you are a member of a different district, your district will probably recognize this as valid for the Distinguished Club Point, which we'll talk about later. So don't feel you have to leave just because you're a member of a different district. Today, we're going to talk about how to be a better president. I'm going to start off by welcoming you to the presidency. It's an important role. It's a great chance for you to develop leadership skills. It's a great chance for you to have a chance to help others accomplish their goals. Effective leadership is important. It's important for your own self-development outside of Toastmasters. Never think that Toastmasters is your ultimate goal. It's an important part of helping the Toastmasters too, though, helping them all succeed. So we're going to run an overview of the club president's role. We're going to talk about the journey towards club excellence and how we define that. So let's explore together. First of all, your goal, and the goal of every officer, is to serve the members. They have goals. They have things they want to accomplish. They have reasons why they became Toastmasters. Those reasons should include things they want to do outside of the club. Just learning to be a better Toastmaster isn't enough. They want to be more effective citizens. And so you and your officers are going to help them accomplish this. Don't let any of the metrics, don't let any of the things that you hear from on high interfere with your realization that your number one goal is to serve the members. This cannot be emphasized too strongly. But how do you help the members? You lead and guide the club. It's important that you serve as a role model and that you help others not interfere with each other. You're going to help other officers do their jobs. If they all do their jobs, then the president has an easy task. If, however, they do not, then the members are going to be let down. So help them do their job. Trust them, but help them do their job. Trust them, but don't be afraid to push a little. Often, you'll find officers who don't quite measure up to the task. The president's job is to make sure that they know what their task is and to encourage them along in order to make sure that they do theirs. Now, we're going to talk about the Distinguished Club Plan, which is a metric. It's not the goal of the club. The goal of the club is to serve the members, but it helps you understand whether or not you're doing that. And always remember, too, to support the area, the division, and the district in advancing and becoming better and more effective at serving everyone else's members' goals. You're going to start off by setting a tone for the club. What is a tone for the club? Well, every club has something that they're trying to do, something that makes them special. Now, maybe it's just your individual members, but some clubs definitely want to avoid all controversy, and that's fine. Some may have agreed upon political agendas. I know clubs that are strictly for Democrats, strictly for Republicans. They're religious clubs. There are clubs that are dedicated to service. Some, while avoiding all controversy, think that perhaps they need to help people learn to think differently and actively encourage debate, including, for example, one of my clubs, That's Debatable, where debate is the whole basis of the club. So help your club find its character and lead them. Help them understand the rules that the club works under and proper decorum as they approach whatever stand they have on controversy or things they want to accomplish. You want to help the club earn a Distinguished Club recognition. That's for doing the Distinguished Club Plan. And the reason why, again, It's because that helps you learn how to set the goals for the members. It helps you tell if you're reaching them or if you're not. It's not the goal. It's a way of seeing how you're doing towards the goal. You also should remember, as president, that you are a base camp manager. Toastmasters has established a pathways education program. And in order to tell how we are doing with respect to that, how our individual members are doing, there's base camp. The vice president of education is the primary one responsible for that, but you are too. Help make sure their goals are recognized by Toastmasters International, and also help make sure that the members see a sign of reward, because that's encouragement. And encouragement helps people go a lot farther. Now, what are the Distinguished Club goals? We talked about them. These are a metric to help you tell how you're doing. So within the pathways, there are 6 of the 10 goals, which are as follows. You'll get a point towards 4 level 1 awards accomplished, another for 2 level 2 awards, another one for 2 more level 2 awards achieved. 2 level 3 awards get you a point. Then a level 4 or a Distinguished Toastmaster Award gets you a point. And getting a second level 4 or Distinguished Toastmaster Award gets you a second point. There are also points for improving the membership. For 4 new, dual, or reinstated members, you get a point. And for 4 more dual or reinstated members, you get a point. Now remember, serving the existing members is more important than increasing the membership. On the other hand, we like to believe that we have something to offer. And membership is a sign that we are getting that to other people. It's also a sign, by the way, that we are attracting other people because we're doing well enough that they think it would do well for them. There are 2 other goals, which win points, if you will, for a minimum of 4 officer roles trained during each of the 2 training periods. This is one of them. This is the training for president, so you're helping towards that goal right by being here. An on-time payment of membership dues accomplished by at least 8 of the members, at least 3 of whom must be renewing members, for one time period, and on-time submission for the club officer list. So to be clear, you have to get on-time membership payment for both of the 2 time periods. Now, if a club has successfully gotten 5 of these 10 goals by year end and has either 20 members or has increased the club membership adequately, then for 5 of the goals, they'll get a distinguished club status. For 7 of the 10 goals, they'll earn select distinguished status. And if they've accomplished 9 of these 10 goals, they become president's distinguished. And if they receive 10 of the goals, there's no special award for that per se, but I assure you, they win bragging rights. And bragging rights are something that helps attract new people to you and to help you feel proud of what you've done. So shoot for it. But remember, you need only 5 and adequate membership in order to get distinguished status. You can keep track of your distinguished club goals by simply looking at this website. You can see it's hard to read up here. This is the club report. but the dashboard is written out more cleanly here. And the ID, this last three question marks here, you replace that with the ID number of your club. And that'll let you see how you're doing. Now, before a meeting, we're going to talk about the meetings. You coordinate with the Vice President of Education. You want to find out what he's accomplished or what he's set up for the meeting. And you want to find out what is to be celebrated. So you put together a meeting plan. There's an agenda, which the president's job is to make sure gets followed. I'm sure that your previous members, your previous president has already got a sampled agenda. You've probably seen it. If not, talk to one of your area directors. They'll give you one. It's allowed to have a different one for every club. You should probably, because your goals are different. The president also wants to make announcements, special accomplishments, particularly. If someone has gotten something, an award, they're speaking outside the club, or anything else from Toastmasters International, including warning the dues are coming, make sure those are announced before the program begins formally. Share any key news and anything else that the members really need to hear. During the meeting, at the start, you should greet guests, and then the president should step down for the Toastmaster of the day to take over. That's important because it gives the Toastmaster of the day a chance to learn how to do his role. And after the meeting is over, after the formal training is done, get feedback from the guests and announce the next meeting. Again, there are three types of meetings. The regular ones we just talked about. You should also meet with the officers. On average, once a month. Get together, talk about how the club is doing, what they can do doing better. And then there are outside meetings. Meetings with the area, division, etc. Attend those as is appropriate. Who are the officers? Well, there's the president, who provides leadership to the club, oversees the operation, and helps ensure that the club goals are met. There's the vice president of education, who is the second in command, as it were, the one who sits in when the president can't make it. The vice president of education plans and organizes the club meetings, assigns roles, tracks member progress, makes sure that base camp has been properly informed, and facilitates educational opportunities. Then there is the vice president of membership, who manages the club membership, recruits new members, fosters member engagement. And if members are falling by the wayside, it's the job of the vice president of membership to find out how. I'll leave that for the vice president of membership training, but suffice it to say, the vice president of membership should be able to delegate those tasks, work with others, just as the president should work with others and not simply try to do it all himself. If you don't learn to delegate, then you missed a very important lesson of Toastmasters. The vice president of public relations, who promotes the club, manages the communications, and enhances public relations, is likewise an important role. And each of these serve in order as substitutes for the president as chair of the meeting, not as acting president, oh no, but as chair of the meeting. So remember that. Also remember you have the secretary who maintains the club correspondence and manages club documents and maintains all of the club records. The treasurer who handles finances, maintains the financial records, and prepares financial reports. Don't forget, don't let them to forget that once a year they have to file a proper form with the state to make sure we maintain our nonprofit status. Then there's the sergeant at arms, who prepares the meeting space, maintains the club equipment, helps the club run smoothly, greets guests, etc. The last office, which doesn't have to train, unlike the others, is the immediate past president. The immediate past president is probably the default leader of special committees, should one be necessary or appropriate. They provide advice. They should attend the officer meetings. They are voting officers. And they're also the nominations chair, because next year you're going to need new officers, and the immediate past president is the one responsible for setting the initial nominations. Outside of the club, there are a number of meetings. One of them, very simply, is this one, the officer training. Second, you need to vote and attend an area meetings, if there are area meetings. You need to welcome the area director to the club, because the area director will show up twice a year to see how the club's doing, to help the club stay on track. You're getting support from the higher organization. Take advantage of it. So welcome the area director, read their reports, and use them to help make the club more effective in the future. There are also division meetings and district meetings. At the district meetings, for some voting, proxies will be required if you can't make it. Some areas or divisions, some districts do not allow proxies. If that's the case with your club, there's nothing you can do. But if they allow it, then if you can't make the meeting, and it's important you do, because if there aren't enough votes, if there isn't a quorum, business can't be conducted. But if you can assign your proxy to another member of your club, and they accept it, then by all means do. And then there's the International Convention, which this year is in Anaheim, California, actually in District 100, which is a great opportunity. You're not required to go. You should send proxies with anyone who is a paid member, but what a wonderful chance. When it comes to assigning proxies, I recommend that you not just give them to someone higher up the chain. That's what the standard is. Find out what the issues are. Find out whether the person you're assigning the proxy to is someone who you agree with. And if they are, great, assign them your proxy. If not, find someone else. This is a good chance, by the way, to talk to people who have been in Toastmasters for a while, who may know the various people who are going to the International Convention, and who can tell you a little bit more about whether they are the people who you most think will serve and vote the way you would have them vote. Now, this next slide is kind of dull. Hopefully, you will be given copies of these slides. I will make them available to the appropriate people. But each of these are clickable links. They are resources which are valuable to you. When you are the chair of the meeting, is a publication which helps you serve better as a chair. The club constitution, what a wonderful way to find out what the actual rules for the club are, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, etc. I find this frequently comes up. Again, this is a clickable link. This link will also, if you went in earlier, gives you links to the international rules and constitution. And if you have any questions, you can look it up. And you will find sometimes, if you know what the rules are, it gives you a lot of power. Don't hesitate to learn. Don't hesitate to be smarter than the people who are trying to tell you what to do. If you have any questions, feel free to look them up. The Moments of Truth is a publication which talks about how to run a more effective club. Now, I don't see it in a lot of resource listings, but when the area director comes twice a year, as I said, they're going to look at how you run the meeting, and their report is going to talk about how well you guys follow the Moments of Truth suggestions. I don't have time to go through them all here. Some of them are incorporated in this presentation, some are not. But look at the Moments of Truth. I think you'll find it useful. This last one is not a Toastmasters publication. It's Robert's Rules of Order. Robert's Rules of Order is a very fascinating, very complex document which helps you run meetings in an orderly fashion. One of my clubs specializes in just using Robert's Rules of Order because we have found that in the real world, people who know the rules for running a smooth meeting can control the meeting mightily. So learn the rules, learn the summaries, learn the details, feel free to look it up. And remember that if you teach your members how to perform well in a meeting, you've given them a powerful, powerful skill. I want to talk before I leave about the 3 different types of meetings: online, in-person, and hybrid. All 3 serve important functions. In today's world, many meetings are held online. Whether you are a lover of online meetings or a lover of in-person meetings, remember, in-person meetings happen in the real world. And if we're going to teach people how to be effective in the real world, teaching them how to speak online is important. In-person meetings are the traditional ones. Toastmasters International truly loves the in-person meetings. Some of our historic leaders in District 100 are big on in-person meetings. They're fine, they're good, but they're not a full education. And lastly, the hybrid meetings. Now, hybrid meetings are interesting. Some people are there in person, some people are online. With respect to all 3, there are some clubs which only exist online for a number of reasons. The most celebrated club, the highest number of distinguished club points, or at least the first one to reach 10, is a purely online club, that being Dungeons and Toast, with membership all across the US, Canada, and Australia, and a few other countries. Club wouldn't exist without being online. Other clubs find that in-person is a powerful draw. In a hybrid club, remember, number 1, you need to have adequate equipment. We'll talk about that a little bit. But those people who are in the room have a special task to learn how to deal with other people in the room and how to deal with people who are online. They have to serve 2 different audiences at the same time. It's a wonderful and important skill. People who are online have to figure out how to make their speech and presentation dynamic and interesting for other people online and at the same time for people who are there in person. I recommend strongly that if you want to succeed in the long run, if you want your members to succeed in the long run, they learn to serve in all 3 of these kinds of meetings. Now, if you're online, there are a number of technological requirements. For people who are simply using Zoom or Google Meets or Microsoft's Teams, there's a simple technology. Make sure you're set up. Make sure you know how to use the technology that the club works with. Many clubs will actually have an officer assigned to We normally refer to it as the Zoom master because Zoom is the most common, but you may need someone to handle some of the other types if you're using a different club. Someone who has enough technology understanding to make sure it's possible. If your tool is Zoom, Google Meetings, learning to use these tools is important. And it's an educational goal, not one of the distinguished 4-point goals, but an educational goal, which is pretty important. It also lets you do interesting things with backgrounds or PowerPoint behind you or animation. OBS is a wonderful tool for that and something you can't do in person. So again, I encourage people, go beyond the simple basics. Teach them the tools they need to be effective, entertaining, and you'll find you've helped them a lot. Again, some members are going to be local. They could be in person, online, or hybrid, and some are not. Serve all of your members. And as I said before, hybrid on stage is different from hybrid from home. Another very important role of the president and of every officer is to remember you only have the role for 12 months. If you're president, by the way, you cannot succeed yourself as president. If the club meets weekly, then you can have the 6-month role of president and then a new president to be elected. You can be president as many times as you want to, but only 12 months at a time. If it's semi-annual, then once, followed immediately by yourself. At that point, you become an immediate past president, which, as I said before, is a real role. It's an important role. Guidance, admission, advice, and helping select successors. So don't think when you're done being president, you get to retire. You don't. You still serve. Start looking now. Yep, right now, very beginning of the year, or if they use this again in 6 months, very beginning of the second term. Look for who your successor should be. Make sure that they know what is going to be expected of them. That helps. And every single officer should do the same. And again, as immediate past president, you have to put together a slate of officers for the next term, July 1 to June 30th, or if the club meets weekly and chooses to, those could be 6-month terms, July through December, or January through June. And this completes the training. Those of you who are attending in person will get to ask questions of whoever the trainer is using these slides. But if not, then I recommend simply that you go home, take these to heart, and go ahead and ask for a copy of these slides. That should be made available. Please, before you go, make sure you're registered as having taken this class. That's how you get the credit for it. If you're from another district, then make sure that the program quality director, Angel, will tell your director, program quality director in your district that you've taken the class here, and they should count that. Go forth, enjoy. Thank you very much for your attendance, and have a really good year. Goodbye.